It is my pleasure to introduce our president, Dr. Ski, to give our welcome for Fall Week 0. Dr. Ski.
Thank you very much, Janice, and good morning, everyone. I am so delighted to see so many of you. I am so sorry that I can't be with you this morning, but I will join you later this afternoon. It's great to hear all the excitement in there. It's great to see so many back in the Rose Lehrman as we had prior to COVID. And so I look forward to seeing you later today and then Thursday at Convocation in the Rose Lehrman as well. I first of all just want to say with great joy and deep gratitude, I welcome you to HACC's 62nd year. And so I hope for many of you that you found moments this summer to rest and to recharge, even though so many of us continued the good work of teaching and mentoring and fundraising and supporting and building. All of that just kept going this summer. So it was through developing new curriculum or raising vital funds, we kept our mission alive. And I want to thank all of you for the role you played. You know, as I begin my 14th year as your president, I feel really a lot of pride and humility. You know, over this period of time, I have witnessed extraordinary dedication from each and every one of you. But I have to say, over this past summer and over the past maybe half year, I have heard from students and alumni and partners and others a really heightened pride and respect in the work that we do. And you know, because of their recognition of our work, we saw increased enrollment. We saw new donors and invitations for us to share our stories nationally and locally. If I were to think about some of the things that happened over the past year that you were responsible for as a college community, I want to start with student success, the reason that we are here. Do you know retention and persistence grew by almost 3% from fall to spring, from 71.5% to 74%. Fall to fall moved from 50% to 54%. Why is this important? Those numbers don't happen usually in 4 years at most institutions. But because of our commitment, our focus, we were able to see drastic increases. And these numbers just aren't numbers. These are real students. And so I hope that you will feel pride in that work that you did in our teaching and learning community to see great increases in retention that are really uncommon nationwide. The second of 3 areas that I wanted to highlight is this idea of partnerships and pathways. We know how critical pathways and partnerships, especially with our employers, are. You have advisory committees and how important it is for those members of the advisory committee to provide us with input to make sure that our offerings are really meeting the needs of our employers in the communities today. But I want to celebrate our move to Lebanon Valley College. As you know, we'll be starting classes next week there at the college itself, and the opportunities that it will afford our students will be very, very inspiring. I also want to say, because of this move, our nurses from Lebanon County will now be receiving grants to help pay for their tuition, thanks to a donor in Lebanon County who is very excited and very pleased with the work that we are doing there. And so I want to, at this time, thank Megan Brightbill, Cindy Donnell, and Tom Mesko for the work that they have put into making that a reality for our students. And finally, the diversity, equity, and inclusion that we have experienced under Dr. Hinton's leadership and her team. Belonging has not only become a way of life, it has not only become a goal, it has truly become part of the fabric of our institution. And we hear, I know I hear yesterday when we had Smart Start, hear so many students talk about how they've been at other institutions, but this institution is the one that made them feel as if they belonged. And you'll see, for those of you that may be on the Harrisburg campus or in the Cooper Center on the second floor, you'll see some quotes on the walls from our students. But there's one that struck me that I wanted to read to you very quickly. Is a student who finished with us this past spring, and he wrote, "I found immense support through organizations like the Care Center, Center for Male Engagement, Center for Global Opportunities and Education. They provided me with a platform to interact with students and staff in my campus and on the other campuses, helping me form social connections with people, which made me look forward to going to school. It helped me find a sense of belonging, and I was able to push through difficult times." That says a lot about all of us who are here creating that spirit, that atmosphere of belonging. And Jessica, as you may see in your emails, every Friday puts out an email that gives other ways, shows us ways that we and our students can be involved in those belonging events. From an academic excellence perspective, and I see many of our faculty in the lower right-hand area there of the Rose Lehrman who are involved with HACC, congratulations and thank you for your professional development in trying to be even better in the classroom. So to our HACC and our TILT participants, all of our colleagues who are boldly shaping the future of teaching and learning, I want to thank you for what you're doing to remain current and even to look at ways that we can integrate the next generation of teaching and learning into our classrooms. To our IT colleagues, you're going to see that many of the systems in our classrooms and our offices have been upgraded, providing us with more secure and user-friendly opportunities in the use of our technology. And construction, you're going to see that there have been many enhancements on all of our campuses. I still ask for your patience and flexibility because sometimes our contractors weren't able to finish things within the time limit because of products and that type of thing. So I just ask for you to remain somewhat patient as we continue to enhance our facilities. As far as student support and belonging, there's been some orientation outreach that has happened to help our students. Yesterday was a great example of bringing students, and students were eager to be on our campuses for Smart Start. There were hundreds of students who said, "It is so good to be back on campus." So I look forward to this semester and the semesters to follow, where we'll see more of our students on our campuses taking advantage of all that we have to offer with the great resources we have. As far as our college advancement, our donors have been phenomenal over the last several months. So I want to thank our advancement team for helping us create some new scholarships, program support, while they can remove some financial barriers for our students to be able to understand the HACC difference. And our HR department, many of you have commented to me about how our HR department continues to build a culture of care, welcoming new employees and supporting so many of us in so many ways. And finally, I want to celebrate our finance team. They have been our rock, safeguarding our resources and sustaining us through these last several months of uncertain funding. As you know, the state still has not finished their budget, so we are going to be dipping into our rainy day fund. And I have to say that our rainy day fund is the envy of our colleagues across the nation. In fact, I've had several presidents call to see if they can have a no or a low interest loan to be able to help them meet payroll and other aspects of their operation. So in looking ahead, there is a lot to look ahead of. And I know you're excited about that. I am too, walking around in the last few days or so, meeting with several of you. I think what we're excited about in some ways has to do with the launching of a new self-paced advising model, which we believe is going to really help increase persistence and completion. And I want to thank all of our faculty and the academic affairs and our academic advisors who work together to put that advising model together. It will be of great help. I also want to celebrate a lot of the expanded workforce aligned programs. As you know, our employers are requiring much more of us. They're expecting much more of us, and they have a lot of other educational institutions that they have gone to, are going to. But for us to remain competitive, the way we are aligning our trades, our health sciences, IT, and business programs has been phenomenal, and we've received great compliments for what we're doing there. I personally want to say thank you on how we're bridging kind of the non-credit to credit programs. That is also something that's critical for so many in our communities who may not have the confidence to be able to start in a credit program, but they start in that non-credit and then they move into the credit program, giving them that confidence. And then finally, I think it's just how we are investing in our student access and our basic needs, ensuring that every student feels safe in the classroom and outside the classroom. So hopefully, as I start to conclude my remarks, you'll see that we've made great progress, and it is thanks to you. But this progress is really transformational, and I hope that'll be the word that we will use as we go forward. But you know, colleagues, one of the things where I sit as the president and the next president, where we sit, we are looking at all of the challenges that we face in higher education today, maybe more than ever before. But it also provides us great opportunities. So some of the things that I think about on a daily basis is enrollment. What are we doing in innovative ways to look at increasing our enrollment? We know that our high school population is declining in our region. So what are we doing to attract those individuals who may have some college but no degree? What are we doing to address the fluctuating state support? And we're doing all we can to ensure that our legislators understand our value. And I have to say, our legislators from our 5 campus areas admire the work we do and are appreciative of the work we do. In fact, over the last several months, legislators would call to say, hey, I heard from our constituents that this is going on and it's helped them in their business or it's helped them with employees. And so we have to know that our work is being seen at all levels of state government. The big issue is evidence. We are being asked by policymakers nationally as well as statewide for looking at ways that we can show our students are benefiting from our programs, and we have good data. We've become such a data-informed organization. It provides us readily the information we need. In fact, yesterday, Kristen Grazer on my team was able to get some information for the new superintendent of Harrisburg Public Schools who wanted to know a bit more about what's going on with his students, and we were able to get that rapidly as maybe never before. We know that technology is playing a role, and I know that sprinkled throughout this week, we're going to hear more about some of the disruptive technology that is providing great opportunities for ourselves internally and for our students, especially through artificial intelligence. And I'll put a plug in for that 1 o'clock event. AJ Merlino is going to facilitate a group of AI in the workplace. And I'm really excited about hearing how we might be able to use some of those concepts and integrate them into the classroom and into our operations. You know, one of the things that you may hear, and I know I hear regularly, is this idea of student expectations and how they're changing. And how are we addressing the changes that these students are expecting from us? And again, with competition, we're not the only higher ed institution in our region. In fact, there are 19 higher ed institutions in our region, and students get to choose. So how are we addressing their needs through hybrid, through personalized learning? What are we doing to ensure that we meet their expectations? And then the second last thing I'd like to talk about is mental health well-being for each of us and for the students that we serve. So how are we addressing that? And we've done a good job Mazzetti and Sullivan has done a very good job in that, and I hear many good things from our students who participate in that, as well as some of our colleagues. And finally, politics. Ladies and gentlemen, I will say that over the last several months, I've had to deal with the politics associated with higher education. And so the data that we have for student success and all has been very helpful. Testimonials have been very helpful, but it is a new day in how we're operating. And so again, I just want to say thank you for providing me with what I need to be able to defend us and to be able to let many of our policymakers know the good work that is happening. And it's because of, I think, our collective ability to be able to help our students succeed that we are going to continue to shine in Washington and at the state capitol. So with that, moving forward, I think we have everything we need, and I'm excited about this year because I think we have the tools, we have the mission, we have our values, but most importantly, I believe we have each other. And with that, I hope that we will be able to keep students and student success right at the center of everything that we do. I hope that we will be able to lead with curiosity throughout this year and ask bold entrepreneurial questions, listening deeply to each other about ways we may be able to meet the needs of our employers and especially our students in innovative ways. I hope we can hold on to hope and to one another as the climate changes that we are operating in, so much different than 10, 14, 20 years ago. And again, I hope that we will continue to be engaged in civil dialogue to make sure that we are the best we can be to help our students as the on-ramp to higher education, remembering that our shared purpose is student success. So I hope that as we begin this semester, we all will remember we're not preparing students just for jobs. We are preparing them for a life of meaning, of contribution, and these days, resilience. So in closing, I want to say that I remain very proud to serve alongside of you for more than a decade. I'm grateful for the ways that you inspire me, the way that you allow me to stand on your shoulders so that I am able to represent you at the national, at the state, at the regional and local level, so that we are able to promote the good that happens within our institution in every department within our college to ensure that we are there to change a life, a destiny, and a family tree for the better. So here, if I had a little champagne, here's to an extraordinary 2025-26 academic year. And I know it will be successful because we will make it successful together. So thank you.